Hi, today's daily insight is about recovery and integration. No, not recovery like an air handling unit. We spend a lot of time on this channel talking about the nuts and bolts of mechanical systems, and I have loads of videos and courses about that on mechanical PE exam prep. You can go over and sign up, and we'll go through all of the technical stuff to get you ready for the test. But I want to talk to you today about this issue of recovery, because I think we spend a lot of time in this state of being not quite burned out, but a bit stressed, right? We're in this perpetual state of overwhelm, and we have a lot to do. We have a lot of commitments, things at work, and now we're taking on this big goal of going for our PE. And we still have all the same social commitments and family commitments and all of that. So we end up in this state where we are overscheduled. And I want you to really be aware of how big of a problem overscheduling is. If you don't have any open time throughout the day, if you're just going all day, every day, Monday through Friday, and then all of your chores and other tasks and activities get pushed to the weekend, and then the weekends become more like the weekdays where you're going there, there's never really a chance to recover and integrate some of the things that have happened during the day, whether it's in terms of work or in terms of studying or just in terms of processing things that are happening during your days. And there's a bunch of reasons why we do this. It's, we make these commitments that we can't realistically keep all of them. And part of it is we have a fear of missing out, right? We want to be involved in everything. And in a way, we want to have it all, and we deserve to have it all. But sometimes that means making some sacrifices and not giving something up, but really putting priorities in the right place. Because if you're just ending up exhausted and stressed all the time, then that's not you're not really showing up to the things that you need to do in a balanced and relaxed state. Sometimes it's better to not be there at all. I don't know about you, but if you've ever showed up to a meeting or a study session or a workout, or even just getting together with a friend or going to a party, and you're not in the right state for that activity, your performance is going to suffer, and you know that. And yet, so often we don't do these things that all the productivity gurus and experts say we should do. So that's what I want to talk about here today. And that's why I picked this quote from Jordan Peterson to start it off. He says, "Schedule the day you would like to have." And he has this idea that we have two kind of parts in our brain. We have the tyrant, right, who wants to sort of call all the shots and say, I'll do this and do that. And that's who you are when you're in front of your calendar. You're like, I'll do this and then I'll do that. And that's what my day is going to look like. And I'm going to complete A, B, C, D, E. And then how many times does your day actually go that way? Never, right? It's 11 a.m. and you've already been derailed so far from your original intent of what you thought you were going to accomplish. It's almost laughable, and yet we do that over and over again. So what would it look like to actually schedule a day that contained activities that were rewarding and allowed us to incorporate the things that are going to come out of left field, rather than feeling like we're just succumbing to these external forces, and then by lunchtime we're basically defeated? Well, we have to start by subtracting. Now, we can't control everything. There are certain things we have to do, and there's certain things that we view as an obligation, but we choose them willingly, right? So there's many things like that, and those are sort of the big rocks in our lives, and we put those in first, and those will take up a substantial amount of space in our schedule, as they should. But then around that, maybe we can notice some of the other activities that we're choosing and say, well, is that really required? And go through your calendar, or go through, if you don't keep a calendar, then spend a week just writing down where your hours go every day, and just check in with yourself every hour and say, what are the things that I did in the last hour? Do that for a week. That can be very illuminating. And then notice, out of all the things that you control, which of those things can you decline? Which of those things can you eliminate? What could you do to create space if you had to? That might mean being a lot more selective about what you agree to in the first place. It might mean saying no. It might mean retrading and going back and negotiating on some things that you previously committed to and saying, you know what, I just have a lot going on right now and I need to reconsider my agreements here. And that's just the way it's going to be. And then once we subtract and make some space in our schedules, now we're going to add back, but instead of adding back all these obligations and tasks and to-dos and projects, we're going to add things that are in the spirit of recovery. So what are we talking about? And it's not going to be all of these, but pick a couple that you like. This is not supposed to become a to-do list. It's an opportunity for you to unplug, disconnect, reset, and get the recovery that you really need to be present in the things that you're doing throughout the rest of the day. Here's a few that some of which I like and I enjoy, and others of which are not really for me, but I know they're important to a lot of people. The first one's meditation, or even just sitting quietly. Another one's journaling. Music, that can be relaxing music, or it might mean blasting some music and rocking out and dancing if that's what you're into. Walking, so going outside and moving. How many times have you gone for a walk and felt worse when you got back, right? Never, but how often do we do it? And maybe you can use that as an opportunity to pick up the phone and chat with a friend or catch up with a family member, or you can just listen to a podcast, an audiobook, or just walk and, gather your thoughts for a bit. Reading, and I'm not talking about the mechanical reference manual, I'm just talking about something that you can get lost in, anything that you enjoy. It might be a novel, or it might not. It might be nonfiction, just learning about something that you wouldn't normally explore. Playing could be getting together with some friends and going outside, throwing a ball around, playing some board games. TV and movies. Now, this can be a little dangerous if you're staying up late and watching a lot of TV and movies, which I think is a big addiction and a habit for a lot of people. So I put this one in there kind of with an asterisk. But if you want to take a 30-minute break and go watch an episode of something while you're having your lunch, and then you're refreshed and ready to get back to work after, I see no problem with that. And then napping, right? Ideally, you want to get enough sleep at night. Otherwise, Jocko's coming for you. But there's nothing wrong with taking an unscheduled nap and just waking up feeling a bit refreshed. A little power nap can be so powerful. The point is, if we don't carve out space for these sort of activities, these recovery-oriented activities, then something else will pop up spontaneously. This always happens. And it will take the space. So find one or two that you think you would like, and then schedule them into your calendar, right? Schedule the day that you would like to have, and then commit to them with the same level of commitment and intention that you would bring to those other required activities. The meetings, the study sessions, the workouts, the social engagements, the chores, the other things that you look at and say, well, I have to do that, I have to do that. Approach reading for 20 minutes that way. Approach walking for a half an hour outside that way. Approach meditation or journaling. Take those same recovery activities and put them into your calendar and have a meeting with yourself, right? There's nothing wrong with doing that. And I think if you start to incorporate these recovery activities in little ways, what you'll find is that you'll have more energy, better concentration and focus, and an overall better balance. And some of those things that you'll have to sacrifice in order to create that space, you probably won't miss them because they really weren't necessary. They were just filling up space in the first place. So you'll get a lot more done than you expected, and you'll feel better in the process. And that's today's daily insight on recovery and integration.